Thanks for the intro. My name is Michael Honc. I work as a tech lead, whatever it means to you, a tech lead, in your company. And I'm going to be talking about RSC featuring Vercel. Quick disclaimer, demo or a live coding session would age poorly. So I chose like a spin kick model for this. I'm gonna go down a bit. One quick disclaimer before a disclaimer. This is kind of like a React Native based talk or like an event. So a quick bombshell on you. We are using Flutter in our company. Boo. I'm kind of glad that it's happening downstairs and not on the roof, because like I would be thrown away from the roof. But I do accept my fate. So yeah, I'm gonna be focusing on the undocumented stuff within RSC, because like you can read everything that is documented there. So I'm just trying to pass you all the experiences we had with RSC and all its quirks and the bad parts. And again, I'm talking about RSC in Next.js. So what is RSC? Actually, it's a server component that is guaranteed to run on server only, meaning on the initial payload and after that on the subsequent page transitions. The difference between the famous get server-side props is that can return only a JSON that you pass from the props. The server-side components can render anything that can be serialized, meaning strings, components, objects, anything like that. And probably the main goal is that the JavaScript, or the secondary goal is that the JavaScript won't be sent to the client. And mutations are done via server functions, which used to be called server actions. And actually server action is still a term, which is a server function being passed to action attribute on a form element. So there's the confusion part. And I'm gonna be starting with the good stuff. The developer experience, everything kind of works out of the box. You can really go from point A to point B super fast. So for prototyping, it's excellent. And like that's kind of the main point. Prototypes are easy, production is hard. Low-end device requirements. You can offload anything that is expensive to render or to calculate to the server. So anything that's run on the server where RSC is not hydrated. So you can offload really expensive stuff to the server. You can also reduce the data transfer, meaning that you can get the GraphQL-like experience where you can really pass down from the server to the client the stuff that needs to be there, nothing else. There's an example. There's like a post with huge content. And if you are trying to render just a navigation menu, you can just like pass this small subset of the whole JSON to client. And a good part is doing A/B testing, since like you can really send to the client really what has to be there. So if user A should get the A version, like you can really strip down the whole content, and the user is gonna see just the A part, and nowhere in the bundle is gonna be the B part. And you can deduplicate the rendering logic with siblings with just JSX. It just works out of the box. And that leads us to the not so great parts. It's a new paradigm, so the adoption rate is quite poor. Actually, it started quite fast, but like now it's kind of downgrading, and people are turning away from RSC. The thing is that it's so new that those dev tools, actually there are no dev tools for it. You are just like out there by yourself, trying to debug a gibberish RSC payload in network tab. So it's not a good experience. I wouldn't call it a food gun because like that's kind of harsh. So I'm just gonna call it banana peel for junior devs because like you have to explain how the RSC works. Like everybody just sees the benefits of the technical side, but you don't see the stuff that you have to explain to juniors, to backend devs, to technical support, and everybody how to work with that because like they are gonna open the dev tools and they are gonna see the network tabs. They're gonna open it, and the first response is again the RSC gibberish. So like, good luck debugging that. The big part again is the server cost because like when everything moves from the user's device to the server, somebody has to pay for it. Because like if it runs on the mobile, on the desktop, the user kind of pays for it with his own battery, his own resources. So that cost goes to you. So it really depends like if you want to do that for sure. And it's very hard to optimize and to scale. If you get million users, you get million new servers when the stuff is running on the client. And the one thing that everybody kind of overlooks is the issues that are related to any server, Node.js, anything else, because like you have to deal with all of these issues within Next.js, which is not server first, backend first framework. So anything with context, with localization, for example, you have to pass the user object or the request directly to the most children component because like the accept language header is on the request or on the user's object. So it's not that easy to use stuff like this because like you cannot use a context, React context, because that's no concept of React context within RSC. Again, cache invalidation, that's probably one of the biggest issues with servers and versions. That's kind of the issue with Next.js because like they said it's a stable feature, but like is it? Like they changed the functionality so many times that my trust is really like low with the next versions. The developer experience in production. As I said, the developer experience in prototypes, that's fun, that's good. You can get really fast to the end goal, but in production, it's super hard. It's hard to maintain the cache of RSC of the client, like how to divide it, what should be on the server side, what should be on the client side. So yeah, there's that. And again, no dev tools, just like this is a demo of Next.js e-commerce. Just try to make any sense of that. Like that's just like gibberish. Another part that's kind of overlooked is QA because like try to create some end-to-end testing or some additional testing on top of that when you have to like debug or mock such payload. And the server to client communication is very hard to scale. Like to get dozens and hundreds of fetches or requests and have it stable is super hard. And that kind of leads me to the Vercel kind of thing with my talk, that like there is a thin line between React.js and Next.js, which is hard to measure what is what. For example, they introduced new directive use cache, which is a feature on Next.js side. But they have like a use server, use client, which is feature on React side. So it's super hard to know what is what. there's no adapters for other providers apart from Vercel. Like you can output the content as a Node.js app, which can be run in Docker, whatever. But like there are no adapters for Cloudflare, AWS, Azure. So another obstacle to jump. And the point is that Next.js is server-side first. So everything is by default React server component, not the way around. Like with React 10 stack, that's kind of the opposite. Everything in React 10 stack start is a client component, and you can opt in to RSC. And again, the word stable. And that kind of leads to the incentives of Vercel, which is a VC-backed company. And their model to fake it till you make it, when they jumped the gun with RSC because like it was not ready at all, was proved as a mistake, and it lost a lot of confidence with some of the developers out there. So if their incentive is to sell you more servers, maybe if they come up with a framework that is server-side first, they will get more money. But like, is it the best thing for the end user? Is it the best thing for the developers paying for the app? I will leave that up to you. Edge cases. I will introduce our company. I won't do any marketing. I'm just gonna highlight the core of our app and how we approached RSC. So it used to be a giant single page app. So I today picked a random file, random component. It had 2,500 lines of code, and I selected the use effect keyword, and it had 18 occurrences within single file. So we have to do a greenfield rewrite. It was not fun. So first, we started doing the RSC first approach because everybody told us to do so. But then we hit some struggles, which I will explain later, and we moved back to the good old lands of React query and suspense. So this is the main part of our app. This is actually Digital AI is automating accounting and invoice detection. So you upload an invoice via PDF, JPEG, whatever. There's going to be machine learning run on top of it, which is going to output a huge array of OCR data. And then we do some AI accounting magic on top of it. And then either via automation, we are going to pass the document to the RP system or leave it to the accounting. So the shell of the app is really use suspense query or stuff from the query cache, because like we have those data from the previous screen, but the core is this side of the app. It's actually two canvases overlaying over each other and 3 huge SVGs being built on every request. Actually, we get the data as a simple object where you get the value, the region, which is relative to the size of the image. And current state is like we get the object, we run it and add it to a canvas, to the canvas, and render it as a SVG, which we are then gonna pass back to the JSX. So it kind of looks like this: like we get an image, we render it as a first SVG, then we create the canvas, export it as SVG, and again run it on top of the image. The future state with RSC, which we are trying to like leverage if we are in the RSC land or not is gonna be because like currently all the rendering logic is happening on the client side for the inner part, but that has some consequences because like user doesn't see anything on the page load. So yeah, the path forward is gonna be leveraging streaming and RSC. So we are just gonna strip the OCR data from the first page and just render it on the server, and then stream the rest of the page which is hidden. And that kind of leads us to our findings and experiences with RSC. First one is skew protection. The thing with skew protection is with every deployment, all the server functions are gonna be marked with different hash, meaning that with every hash, the current user that was on page A, and now after deployment, the page is on the page has a label B. All the requests are gonna fail because like the page A is trying to reach a server function A, which is not present at all. So this thing works out of the box with Vercel, but if you want to do that outside of Vercel, good luck. It's not that easy. Data cache. That was our finding kind of the hard way. We tested our new RSC app on dev. It was working just fine, perfect. Everything was fast. Then we moved it to staging. Again, everything went through the roof. It went, everybody was so happy. And then we launched it to production, and the shit hit the fan. Because we are running multiple pod instances in some part of the day. So like when in the morning people go to the office and start uploading invoices, we scale up the architecture. So now the React cache or the data cache layer lives in each instance. So when I mutate one instance or mutate one data, it's going to be mutated only one of the instances. So that's again the issue of the server, or like the classical server issue where you are storing data in the memory, which is kind of like so easy to see like from now on, but like at the time it was not easy to see what's going on. Again, like fetching data is done via special URL with search param _RSC, which again is tied to the individual server components. But like if you have one server component A in the header and the same component in the footer, it's gonna have different hash. So like good luck trying to cache it on the CDN. So we used streaming after that. Like let's just like wait on the most crucial thing for the app, and then stream the rest with React Query. But as we found out, like the dehydrate query client was so slow that like every request waited almost, I don't know, 300 milliseconds just to dehydrate the client because like data were so heavy in that case. And that kind of leads us to use cases of RSC. The biggest, probably what I see is GraphQL-like benefits, where you have like lots of data and you want to strip some part of the data and send it to the client. So the data transfer is really low. Again, that's great for A/B testing because you can really send just the stuff that is on the page to the client. And you don't have to do anything. It's handled by the bundler of React Native in JSX. I used to work for this company doing the search there. And to be honest, I think this is the perfect use case for this, because like every search request have different output. There are like, I don't know, 50, 40, 60 these kind of snippets individual to the search engine. So you can always insert the right component in there. And I think the RSC is the true backend for frontend. You can really do the best job for being the backend for frontend, meaning you can really narrow down the data transfer for that. And I think RSC is becoming the open API for React. So while I was preparing this talk, I always had the word edgy for RSC like tied to it. So I Googled it for the Cambridge dictionary, and it was essentially the unusual in a way that is fashionable or exciting, which is true, but I was still nervous, easily upset, and not calm. So remember, with every cutting edge, there's an edge case. And on that note, thank you for attention, and we can speak later.